Welcome to part 2 of our discussion of Forest of the Dead. This is a very horror-based episode, so don't forget to listen to our Halloween recommendations episode from last year. Don't forget to listen also to part 1 of Forest of the Dead, so enjoy part 2. Welcome to Who Knew. We are fans of the current series of Doctor Who, and here we discuss our likes, dislikes, and insights into the modern regeneration of the show. Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WhoKnewPodcast. All our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com. You can leave comments there, or email us at whoknewpodcast@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram and Twitter account. Tweet at us at whoknewpodcast, and find us on Facebook. Let's introduce ourselves.
Hi, this is Brian.
Hi, this is Frank.
I am Josh.
Hello, this is Auburn.
It's Kelsey.
Hi, this is Arlene.
This is Heather via Skype.
And this is Eugene.
At the data core, Lux explains that Cal is his aunt, Charlotte Abigail Lux, who fell ill as a child, and his grandfather built the library to store her living mind. He also created the Dr. Moon to watch over her, and the books were to keep her company. An information node turns around with Cal's, Charlotte's, face, asking for help. She is the computer. When the shadows came, she had to save the people, but has forgotten who she really is.
I like this explanation of what happened. It made sense, like everything just fit now. And then he says, or somebody says, do computers dream? And I thought of Philip K. Dick. Do androids dream of electronic sheep?
Electric sheep.
Electric sheep, thank you.
And also 2010, of course. All higher life forms do.
So I like that line.
You think she's safe?
Yeah.
Right. Saved.
No. Safe.
I really like that juxtaposition of words, how the word saved has become a bad thing in this episode. I think they used the name Cal, comparing it to Hal in 2001.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Oh, I never thought of Oh, okay.
But it's a girl, so it has to be with a C rather than H. I don't know. One of those things.
Well, Sal was used. It was.
Yeah.
It was in 2010.
Yep. And then,
Oh, really? Was
yeah.
that the computer in 2010?
The computer in 2010 was Sal.
All right, guys. So what are we going to call a computer in this movie?
It was a woman. It was for Sal.
And she was blue.
Oh, for
That's
Sally.
right. She was blue. That's right.
and then Dave, for Dave.
Fine.
Yeah.
Hal, Dave, what are you doing?
Oh.
Dave.
Oh, probably. Proper Dave.
Properly? Properly?
Or maybe it was just a call to kids in the hall. Too many Daves.
Podcast gold. Back to our show.
I find it interesting that Mr. Lux went from a despicable character to a very sympathetic. I mean, he was probably still a jerk, but like in this episode, you, especially in that starting there through the end of the episode, you're with him. You're very sympathetic to him.
For me, it feels very, what's the word, pure? Mm-hmm. I mean, he truly does feel for this little girl. Mm-hmm. This little girl is a member of his family.
Yeah, I pictured him growing up, and his parents told him the story, you know, so all his life they've been cherishing the memory of this little girl.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, oh, that's why he's still around.
Right.
Because he was kind of despicable.
Yeah,
so you did kind of expect him to be...
Usually that guy buys it somewhere.
Yeah.
Earlier.
And then
he's
you're
the one
like-
that goes into the hole in the wall to...
But then in Voyage of the Dam, we learned that that's the guy that survives.
Eh?
You don't remember?
Oh, yeah.
Because all the good people that he said, I'm going to save all of you.
Oh, Voyage of the Damn, the Titanic.
Yeah, the Titanic
Yeah.
episode.
I thought it was an odd way to say it was his aunt. You know, it's my grandfather's youngest daughter.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is an odd phrase, I thought.
But it's also a good way to kind of say he doesn't know her.
Right.
She
It's not
died
my-
long
it's not
before
my
he
great
was,
aunt. I
yeah,
wasn't
it's not
even-
my aunt because I didn't know her.
Well, it
You
was
know, I've
100
only
years ago,
heard
at
about it.
least.
Yeah, I've only heard about her.
Yeah, and like what you guys were saying about how now we're on his side, I now see this as his way of redeeming his family's name.
Yes.
And that's
why
why
was
he-
his family's name cursed? in some
I mean,
way?
you have this
4,000 people died on their planet.
you have this
'Cause
facility.
that was the whole point of the
Yeah.
mission, is to find out what happened, and
Yeah.
only recently they were able to get through. What did they say in the very
Yeah.
the
beginning?
library shut down so nobody could get to the planet.
And I see that as like a stain on his family's like
What happened to
yeah.
these people? What happened on the
and nobody
on the planet?
knows. So then he has to hire this team to specifically get here, and like they traveled how far? They had to go back for Miss Evangelista twice because of the escape pod, and I don't know. It just felt like this was all
It
his
looked like
money.
a bathroom.
But
It
they
just-
didn't run out of chicken.
Stop it. She's
Yeah.
pretty.
I tell you, I don't want to go in that escape pod.
But it felt like he was throwing the rest of the family's money into this to save them
Right.
from potentially being like blacklisted or whatever. Like,
And I like the shift of him seeming like a jerk that he won't give up the patent, and then when you find out he's protecting the girl, it's very heartfelt.
yeah.
I just wanted to ask, does anyone else think that it may actually be cruel to keep this girl's living mind
Yes.
trapped like a purgatory forever?
Yes.
Which then ties into later events that continue on even through other scenes.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
I kind of thought like that it seemed terrible. She's alone in there.
Well,
But she's not.
But she's not. I think the thought is, if this computer program works well, she will live happily for eternity.
Yes.
Now, yes, it's if you want to think somewhat religiously or spiritually, yeah, she's just trapped and she can't move on. But in their minds, it was she died way too young, but this way she'll outlive us all. And if the computer programs work, she'll be happy.
I just can't imagine living in a world where nothing's real. And
But she doesn't know that.
We all could be doing that right now
Yeah, we
and
could all
not
be
know
doing
it.
that right now. Don't talk about it too
do
much.
that.
I've seen Men in Black.
Where'd this blue pill come from?
But I think if you're talking spiritually, they separated the consciousness, the mind, from the body and spirit.
Well, that's an
So
opinion.
but that's what
I
they're
agree
talking
with
about
Frank.
with it, keeping some of the essence of who that person is in the brain and in the neural links.
This is like the electrical impulses.
But the body and the soul
Soul.
would be freed. And so this is the consciousness that continues on. Now, yes, I agree. It seems insane and cruel in some ways. I agree with you on that. But then the way it was supposed to be the way it worked, maybe he wasn't planning to have it go on forever.
Yeah,
And he wanted it so she could have whatever stories and live through the books and do what she wanted. And maybe, after 100 some odd years, he had planned to shut it down.
Well, I rationalized it as maybe she had a terminal illness and the technology at the time couldn't
yeah,
help her.
but
And
that's
then,
just the
but then, the technology, he loved the daughter so much that he wanted to keep her around. And
But she
that's
is
fine.
alone in that it was designed just for one mind,
Yeah.
hers.
Yeah.
But she appears to just sit in front of the TV all day by herself with her weird
Hey, man,
dad,
when I
so-
was that age, that would have been fine with me.
yeah, sounds like heaven. I'll do that
Yeah.
for an eternity.
And that's after she has saved 4,000 people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
that's a
assume
good point.
before she was reading books and putting on plays, but
Yeah.
now all that she
Drawing.
has the
She's drawing.
cognitive ability to do is
Yeah, she's buffering.
watch TV.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because maybe she had a really rich life before, but now it's all this business, like Auburn just said, is taking up too much memory. So all she could do is sit in front of the TV.
And observe as opposed to being
Wow,
proactive.
I never thought about it this deeply before. So
Welcome to the Who Knew
You're
podcast.
Still not a full life.
No, of course
It
not.
makes me
it's
think
not.
of the what nearly headless Nick says in the last book, where he goes, "It's like I was too afraid to die, and that's why I left. I was left behind because I made sure that there was precautions to be here, but most people do move on, so not all of us are ghosts. Not all of us are this. It's
Right.
like this is the fear. Fear is
Right.
what keeps me here.
Is that a Harry Potter thing?
Yeah."
I feel much
Like you
worse.
guys do.
Yeah, we got that.
Oh, yeah.
I personally feel much worse for River at the end of this.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of life is that after the life that she has led up to this point?
you think?
Let's get to the end, and then we can talk that more fully.
The doctor wants to beam the people out of the data core, but there is not enough memory. He plans to attach himself to the core so it can use his memory. River argues with him but follows his orders to go set controls to prepare for the download, leaving him alone with the Vashta Nerada in Anita's suit. He tells them that he will give them back their forest, their breeding grounds, as long as they let everyone leave the planet. He tells them to look up stories about him in all the books. They agree to give the people 24 hours to leave the planet after finding out how threatening the doctor can be. River comes back and knocks out the doctor. She handcuffs him, spoilers, and takes his place, knowing she will not survive. She tells him of the last time they were together, that he always knew the day she would die. She forbids him from changing a second of that history, and at the last moment, she activates the connection.
This is so good.
It's funny because when first time I watched it, I was thinking like, wait, well, she should know he won't die because then, but she knew him, and then I went, no, timey-wimey, this, that, and the other.
History can be changed.
Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, he says that right to her. History can be changed.
And then,
and she says, don't you dare.
Yeah, right. And so that's just it. Like, if you do die, then I don't get to have what we had.
Yeah. It's
I'm
awesome.
so glad they did not do the predestined paradox speech.
Well, that's why they'd set up a great precedent early on in the series of, this is how I interpreted it, because I'm a Time Lord, the normal space-time continuum doesn't work for me, or I don't have to, the rules don't adhere to me as far as what we're talking about.
Yeah, he's very few rules.
Yes.
And, he might even break those.
But they didn't really say that we can rewrite or change things, or
Right.
because you did survive, because I did meet you later on, means that this is going to work. That
Right.
they didn't talk about that. I'm
Right.
so glad. And they just said, we're in this situation. Once we arrive in a time, in a place, we're part of it.
Right.
And what we do affects everything.
Right.
So they don't think of the outcome as being predestined. It was, no, we have to do this. And she's like, you have to survive. And she's willing to sacrifice for that.
Because instead of it playing the explanation, they're playing the emotions.
Right. I was just going to say that this section is so emotional that if you stop to go, now wait a second here, the paradox and such, then it would have...
I'm having such a deja vu moment right now. It's like, whoa.
What? Because I'm turning the microphone towards
Everything.
me?
It's like petting the
it's
dog.
Like,
You guys sitting
slowly
there, it's like,
turning the
whoa.
microphone.
What's changed
Okay.
in the Matrix?
That's right. I was going to say that's a glitch in your matrix. We got to run.
This whole section of when the doctor's explaining what he's about to do, Josh, you brought up the thing earlier with the safe versus saved. You're like, I really don't understand that, but I'm sure it makes sense. This is one of those moments where I'm like, I have no idea what the doctor's about to do. I don't understand it. I can't follow it. But like you said, the emotion of the scene, I don't care.
Yeah.
There's one part that I don't get, I don't understand, and that's the Vashta Nerada looking up all the books, all the references of the doctor,
Yeah.
and seeing that he could, what he's capable of doing. But by removing the 4,022 people, that's their food source.
Yes.
So you're going to die anyway. Why would you give up your food source? And there are over 1 trillion of them there.
I think
because that's what they said, how many life forms, and they say there's more than 1 trillion.
But they've survived over this time, and they haven't had access to those people.
So it's like,
Well, maybe
we got
they go
food
into
again.
hibernation or something, as opposed to being obliterated by the doctor.
Or they lay eggs.
Or they lay eggs, yeah.
Okay.
But that
I'm glad I said something, because that bugged me, that you're giving up your food source.
But
thought of that
what
too.
you're talking about made me think of a point I noticed where earlier in the episode, River says to Anita, I think something about armies back down.
Run away.
Armies run away
At the
and back
mention of his
down.
name.
Yeah, so basically that's exactly what happened in that moment.
right.
Yes. But this is also another example, Josh, of what you had said in an earlier episode about how the doctor's character is now getting bigger.
Yeah, this is a Moffat
This is a Moffatism.
grandizing.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? Look at the information and find out who I am, and you're going to be terrified, and you're going to back down, and you're going to starve to death. You would rather starve to death
Right.
than fight me. And that is actually really kind of a big change for the doctor's character.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say it could be lazy writing, or it could be if it worked once, why not try it again?
Yeah.
Because it does work dramatically, but when you
Put it in the grand scheme of things, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
it's like what Josh says. The doctor isn't somebody who's just traveling through the galaxy. He's now the person saving the entire universe, and everybody knows. And
It's a very different idea than the classic doctor.
And then he even into the Capaldi season,
Moffat grows that idea.
Yeah, he keeps doing it so much so that when it gets too big, we'll just make the whole world forget. We'll just wipe him from the internet and all sorts
And
of
I
this
don't like
and the
that.
other.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
He was pretty much a country doctor, just going on his own way. You
Yeah.
know? It's like, he wasn't that big in the classic Who of being someone, one of the people from Gallifrey, from a Time Lord. It's like, it's not unheard of, but this is just one person. It wasn't so much the
He was David
savior
Carradine in
of,
Kung Fu.
or destroyer of
Time War
worlds, or
changed him.
savior of worlds, or
The
Yeah,
oncoming storm.
The Time War, right? The Time War
Right.
changed him.
But then that doesn't happen until like here. We
But-
had 3 seasons.
Well, no, but I
I see her point.
I know what you're saying,
That
yeah.
idea, though, that like that's his like he did something so terrible. The only thing that will keeps him going is to make himself in his mind to be
The savior.
the savior.
Yeah.
And this kind of keeps going through with the end of the season, where he becomes too much of a savior in his head. Kind of needs to be squashed down a little bit. And I think it's that the arrogance is just blowing up at this point. Which Donna was awesome at, like, squashing it down.
Right.
And the reason why the arrogance blew up is because Donna wasn't with him all this time to like shut him down. So I think that's a good way to.
Sometimes I need you think someone to stop you.
I hope there's somebody there.
Oh, for a second there, I thought you were talking to Arlene directly.
Also, does anybody think it's strange that the Vashta Nerada can, like, read?
Yeah.
And also read, like, instantaneously?
Well, I think it's implied they have a hive mind if they're moving that body around and speaking together through it and
Oh, the
stuff.
hive mind.
But
I know, I was expecting to see all the books, fly from the shelves again. Flip through, flip through, flip through.
cut to the doctor and he's like, "Have you finished yet?"
Oh, when earlier when we discussed the effects of the shadows, and I said I really didn't like them, this is the one I can't stand.
The
Because-
glowing
Where it
one?
reaches towards him.
Well, it reaches towards him, but when they retreat, the lighting changes on the entire set. I mean, you can see like the shadow of the column is like moving away. It's like, why is that happening? It's just
They rewound it, and
Yeah,
it
it's
really
something
shows
weird.
off.
Where it's just
also it's cheaper to move a light than it is to do a special effect.
yeah, but it just kind of was like, okay.
Right here, when Anita dies and he finds out that she's dead, eaten, he says, "You just killed somebody I liked. That is not a safe place to stand." It mirrors what River Song was saying when Evangelista died. Because she's like, "I want to talk to whoever killed that person." So I like that the same scene sort of happened in both episodes.
Lee comes home to Donna and they embrace before being torn apart by the data transfer. All those saved in the core are returned to the library. They use transporters to evacuate everyone. Lee is real and sees Donna right before he is transported away. The doctor leaves River's diary and the screwdriver in the library and then remembers that the neural relay can hold a person's consciousness. Now he knows why he gave River his screwdriver. It has a neural relay that's holding River's mind. He grabs River's screwdriver and flies to the computer core and uploads the data. River appears in the virtual reality world, greeted by Cal and Dr. Moon. Cal has uploaded the others in the expedition who died, so River is not alone. She is saved with a corrected Miss Evangelista, Anita, Proper Dave, and Other Dave. She retains her memory and is now the mother of 3 beautiful children.
One of which is Cal. So Cal has a mom.
Why? Somebody tell me when everybody comes back and the 4,000 people are back. Why are they all dressed in the same black pajamas?
It was golf day at the library.
Oh, there we go.
And that's why there were only 4,022 people.
That's why there was only one.
Everyone else is like, let's go to the library today. That means we got to dress in black. Let's go tomorrow.
Oh man, I'm out of guy liner.
It was a production thing. They wanted to have something simple and to kind of be timeless so that you didn't see the fashion. And then that's why it's juxtaposed with
Them being
the
dressed in
archaeologist
white.
being in the off-white sort of, So that's why they did
I mean,
that.
yeah,
It's a
I can see
production
their
thing.
point. It was they were saving money, but
Yeah.
They seem awfully happy to be ripped from the world they were just
thank
in.
you.
Everybody was like, "Hi, how you doing?"
All the people you know are dead.
Yeah.
Good thing you aren't.
I also thought like when River's plan works, we see all the people who were brought back, and we cut to the doctor, and he's just sitting there moping, which I like, but like I'm like, you only have a day, man, get everybody out of there. Like it's the first thing I thought of.
And I'm totally with him going, I don't care right now.
Let all them die.
Well, because he's also like, I've got a TARDIS. I can just open it up and walk 4,000 people into it. So
But I wonder, do they all appear at the same spot?
no, they appeared
were
all over.
all
yeah.
over.
Right, so
Yeah.
does anybody know what's going on and how to activate
Nope.
the transports in those other places?
No.
Nope. Oh well, yeah. I, bet
I
you
never
people who
thought
work
about it
there-
until just now.
No, there are probably people who work there who know how to activate the.
They probably made an announcement over the creepy statues.
Yes.
Oh, they said,
Exactly.
It's time for my break.
Well-
I'm not doing this right now.
Well, Lux knows how to operate it, and also the computer is telling them what to do. Because when they are getting onto the platform, you can hear the computer saying, "Don't state your
Right.
destination until you."
And is that so the Vashta Nerada don't know where they're going?
That's just so they. It's just so people are. We don't think about them
So you don't end
Where are
up
they
in
beaming?
Diagon Alley going diagonally.
It's like, where are they
You have to
beaming?
state it when you go into the flu powder.
And that's, in conjunction with how horrific Cal's life, it's, is this really a good thing?
Right.
And, now they're ripped out, and it's like, these people are going to have problems.
Oh, no, they're not.
But then there was also a part of me thinking, well, it is the 51st century. They do have vortex manipulators, so maybe they just
You're right.
throw them all back. They don't, but
It was a really quick ending, but
yeah, it was a quick
they
ending.
made it where he just saved the 4,000 people, and it's such a sad ending.
Yeah, especially when
We're
Yeah.
supposed to be happy on they're saved, but the way Donna talks to him, going, how are you, all right? Was that code for not all right?
Yeah, he says.
and then when you see
I'm
Lee
always all
trying
right.
to yell to Donna.
Yes. Oh, that was awful.
And that's the thing I wish wasn't there.
Oh, really?
I don't want that scene because it's a little bit too much, and it's too sad, and it's just too many questions. Because it is like, why didn't she find him? He was, just find him. Why was his name different in the Matrix?
What was his name outside?
We don't know.
We don't know his name outside, but it wasn't Lee Mack
How do you know it wasn't?
because she looked it up and said there was no one on the library named Lee. And it's just too inconvenient. It's too perfectly set up for Donna to be turning the corner right as he sees her and
Right.
stammers and he can't say her name.
Maybe in real life, his stammer won't let him say Lee, so he had another name.
Yeah, anyway.
He had another name in the computer program.
But that's just the one
No,
part. It's like, I don't,
it's-
it just, and again, spoilers, but because nothing ever comes of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I was always hoping that someday they would find him or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like,
And he can't find her. She's
Yeah,
a time
right.
traveler, not from this period.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it. It was heartbreaking. That's life.
It was the emotional aspect of it.
but it's
But
funny.
everything else breaks my heart.
I like the fact that nothing ever comes from it. To me, that just makes it more tragic. And I know you said you thought it was too sad, but I like being sad. Sad is happy for deep people. And,
No, I love being sad. And I think when, I think a perfect example of that is when the doctor's looking at the chair when he's handcuffed.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
else has been saved, and everybody, oh, look,
Yeah.
you're alive. And, Lux says, you're alive. And you just cut back to the doctor sitting there, staring. That's great. Because I guess what it is, the thing with Lee is it's too much of a cliche.
Yeah.
It's very cliche.
It is.
And the doctor's emotional thing isn't. It's very well done, in my opinion. So I kind of think it's like, I kind of want to remove the cliche from something that's already sufficiently working for me.
Well,
I
it's,
think what made it less cliche for me was the stutter. The fact that he had the stuttering problem, and that is ultimately what blocked him from being able to
Yeah.
shout her name, which I thought was kind of unique. So maybe that's why it didn't feel cliche.
Yeah,
to
if
me.
he just kind of went to go, Don, and then he was cut off. But the fact that they brought that in, which they told us the meaning was because that's of course Donna pictures somebody a man who can't speak, but really, story wise, it was for that moment at the end.
well, what's funny here is that in the previous season, we had sort of the same thing with Martha and Tom Milligan, and then they erased that year, and then she goes and meets him and gets engaged to him.
Right.
And then it's weird that here we kind of get something very similar, but we don't get that happy ending and the bow on it.
Because you see, for me, it's actually the stammer that pushes it over the edge. When it's like he can't speak, he can't say Donna because he's a stutterer. It's like, oh, you only made him a stutterer for this
bit.
moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that moment is the first moment they thought of
Yes,
for Lee,
and they went
then
back and put his-
retroactively wrote the episode
Yeah.
around it.
But maybe I watch I Claudius too much. So, but that's just me.
And then another tie into a previous season and another Moffat episode is that when Donna asked the doctor, "Are you all right?" and he says, "I'm always all right," which is what he said when Madame de Pompadour died in
Oh,
Girl
yeah.
in the Fireplace.
Oh yeah.
So that's the doctor's code for "No, I'm not all right."
When women are involved.
And then it also, again, like that episode, you have the main female protagonist doing the voiceover at the very end, where Madame de Pompadour is reading the letter that she wrote the doctor.
Oh.
Here, River Song is reading. I would say from the diary.
Yeah, she's.
And then that's the voiceover that we get at the end of this episode.
Did you pick up or did you get that she's reading that as a bedtime story to the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or was that a voiceover for us and she's reading one of the adventures that she had with the doctor as a
kids.
bedtime story?
Yeah.
But that they're two different things.
It could be both, I think, because the way it's edited is that she is reading from the diary, and then she closes it. Like it conveniently fits that a story she's telling the kids fits in with the story where she got integrated.
I'm with you, Frank.
I don't
She
see
left-
that
she
she,
left
would
out
tell
the-
that as to the kids as a story.
She left out the
It's more for us,
I
you know.
And
Although-
I agree with Eugene that it really does work both ways. Like
Yeah,
you can
that's how I'm
look
taking
at
it.
it as like two separate things, and you can look at it as the same thing.
Yeah.
So I want one of the little kids to go, "So Donna, why did you have the handcuffs?"
River,
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
River.
who is the
I'm sorry.
mother of these children?
and then she
That would
says,
have been good.
and she says, "That's a story for another time."
when you're old, when you're older, but when you're older. But we don't when you're old.
Chip, now go back to the cupboard. That's what
Damn
it sounds
mummy
like.
and her irony.
And then the iron comes at it.
Watching this again,
Writing that down.
watching this again, knowing what's going to happen. Donna and the doctor are speaking, you know, at the end, wrapping things up. They're leaving the screwdriver in River's notebook there, and they're just talking. This time it's, move it! She's dying right there. She's there. You know that her consciousness is there, and it just felt like that scene was just drawing out. It's
I don't particularly like the direction in this episode, but I love that what they did there, where it just is all one shot, and they just close up onto the diary and the screwdriver, and then he just comes running. I mean, there's no cuts, no nothing, and and why did I do this?
I do like that. I
I
do
like
that
a lot.
Yeah.
No.
We didn't discuss the snapping of the fingers.
I love the snapping of the fingers. I wish that was it. And also, I think it would have been hysterical the way because they film it and they frame it. It's such a moment, and it's so emotional, and what it means. And he snaps his fingers, and the door's open. Gosh, I would have loved it if we had seen. It was just Donna randomly opening up the door.
I had that same thought.
Are you coming? I mean, it's
I actually
excellent.
thought that was going to be that because in my mind he didn't learn to open the door like that until like Capaldi or something like that.
subsequently, and I wish it was. I wish it was just a leave it in this moment thing.
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I wish it had been just
Yeah.
Donna. Like
'Cause I would've
and then
liked-
you see
what-
her
wouldn't that have been
hands, and she's
hysterical?
That
like,
would have been great.
"Come
And then
on."
if it's just the idea that he liked the idea so much that he built it into the TARDIS to do that.
Yeah. Okay, the real reason why I wish it was just this one is because they eventually have Clara do it, and that's just wrong. That's just
Got that.
wrong.
I blocked that.
We have been talking about music, how the theme has been used in different moments throughout these two episodes. Like the old Doctor's theme comes in when River whispers his name to him, and then there's other portions where it happens. And I like how they've been kind of sprinkling it throughout, and then we finally get the full theme when the Doctor's running to get gets the screwdriver River's memory into the core. I like how it's finally now here's the full version of that song, and I like that.
Yeah. Also, they go back to the theme of Everybody Lives.
Yeah, where this is a twist. River song says some days nobody dies at all.
Yeah, nobody goes.
But when everybody lives, that was also with nanites and small things. It's like
Yeah,
the Vashta
yeah.
Nerada are the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still the small little
And dancing.
things are going on.
And seriously though, it's like, well, no, you did die.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This episode, Silence in the Library, were nominated for Hugo Awards in Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form category.
But they did not win.
Nope, they were just nominated. That's all I
Yeah.
can-
Who
honor
would
just to be
have won?
nominated.
But this should have won. That year for the Hugos, it was the episode of Lost called The Constant.
Whatever.
Oh, that's actually a good episode.
Whatever.
You
Because
know it
I
by the
think
title?
It's a Desmond episode. Yeah, it's like I do remember that one actually because they keep using the word that the whole episode revolves around the constant.
Wow, we should be on a Lost podcast, not a Doctor Who podcast.
Stupid lost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Battlestar Galactica Revelations.
Yeah, I thought it might have been a Battlestar
I can't
year.
remember what that one's about. I don't think they said Revelations much in that episode.
Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. Turn Left.
It's competing against itself.
Turn left, yeah. And the winner, you'll never guess.
You'll never guess which show is that.
Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along.
Oh,
yeah.
that
No.
was crazy popular.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why they voted.
But-
That's why I won.
Hugo winning?
It was clever.
Yeah, but no.
I don't know. Because
It's clever, and I laughed,
Who
and gosh, it
cares?
was funny, and okay, all right.
They were
This is
sending-
Silence in the Library and Forest of the
It's
Dead.
funny that like everything
This
else is
is-
this huge dramatic episodes, and then the silly funny one is the one that wins the Hugo.
No, I think the Battlestar Galactica was a light comedy.
But it was 2008. We had the financial crisis. We needed
Yes, we
something
needed to
light.
laugh.
We needed
Yes.
to laugh and it needed to be light.
Well,
and
it's
funny.
also the writer's
But it's
strike.
got the
Yeah.
well, it's
Yeah.
got the
Writer's
word-
strike.
Yes,
Which
yeah, wasn't that
caused
made
the-
in the writer's strike?
Yes.
that's why it was made.
Yeah, so-
Well, they had to make it dramatic. They put the word horrible in it.
Yeah.
And Donna has 10 costume changes. I thought Arlene might appreciate that.
Really?
It's a fantasy world.
All the different cuts.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
So, Forest of the Dead. Does this live up to the promise of the previous episode, Silence in the Library?
Yes, it lived up to it. I think it was one continuous story. It wasn't like some of the other ones that we've talked about in the past, where the issue that was happening in the first episode was wrapped up in the first 5 minutes or less, and they went on to something else. This was one continual story that was broken into two, and I think it definitely lived up to it.
I agree.
I definitely liked the first episode better, but I agree that this, as a two-parter, it does work. It's not like, some of the other ones where they're two-parters, but they're really two kind of separate stories with a similar like setting or character. So I will say that, this lived up to the first one, but I like the first one better.
I'm gonna say yes as well. I thought it carried a lot of emotional weight, and basically every character except for the Doctor and Donna we had just met, but the show is really good at making us feel for people really fast. So I think I might actually like the second one better than the first one. But so yeah, definitely held up.
Yes, 100%. I feel like they introduced this character, River Song, and made her intriguing and mysterious. But then what they did with her character in the second part, like, just sealed the deal in my mind that she is, like, one of my favorite characters. And that's without all the stuff all the episodes later on that they bring her. It's just, like, these two alone. So it definitely lived up.
I think it's great. It's a good episode. They're both great episodes. It lives up to it. Would show it to anyone. It's an intriguing story. Even though now that we've picked it apart a bit, it makes me a little upset about the sexist nature of certain parts of it. But
It's consistent.
yeah, it's consistently sexist.
Yes, it totally, completely lives up to the promise of the first episode. I think it's one of the best second halves of a story.
I agree. This does live up to the first the promises made in the first episode, and I like the internal logic of the world building and how that all pays off. Just like what we mentioned, I just enjoy that everything works out in the end, and there's a reason for certain things. I don't know why you would want to watch them separately, but I would watch these together constantly.
It's also like, it's not like the last 5 minutes they answer
Right.
everything.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's like you
Yes.
find out about Dr. Moon fairly early on in the episode. It's like, oh, okay, all right.
don't need to
And
worry
so it
about
just-
that.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
kind of like progresses logically to the end of the story.
Right, because like the whole library and the Nash, or the help me out here, the
Vashta
Nash,
Nerada.
the Nash,
Vashta
thank you.
Nerada.
The library and the Vashta Nerada, it to me isn't like the real mystery of this.
Right.
The real mystery is like, who is River Song and who is she to the Doctor, and why doesn't the Doctor know her?
Yeah, it's like the A story and the B story. The A story is really River and the Doctor.
It's almost like there's a story and a story.
Yes.
They got two good stories and combined them. It's
And then
great.
you have this world that Donna builds. That
Right.
is
Yeah,
another
that is its own story.
that creates a whole nother mystery and scary jump moments. I don't know.
I want to see the storyline where Lee goes to speech therapy while they're in the computer.
No, Donna fixes him.
Oh, Donna fixes him, right. 'Cause women can do anything. Right.
No, that's the whole thing.
So women
He's
can
still-
teach men how to talk? Is that what
But
you're
he
saying?
still stutters.
Always.
He still stutters, and it's just
Yeah, but
okay.
not much. Not nearly as much
Not in
He
the program.
in the program.
In the
After
program,
they
he
have
does when he's
kids.
reading the letter to Donna. There's a stutter. And,
Maybe small, but it's nothing compared to how he was.
and the way I saw it was that because of the love and how they felt, it's like it didn't matter. That wasn't an issue.
Yeah,
He may still
I
stutter,
think-
but
I think
it
it's all
wasn't
part- yeah, I think
something
it's
to be
what
called
you're
out.
saying, which is all part of the program. It's
See,
a paradise.
A better ending would have been like his stutter was fixed because Donna
Right.
had been spending so
And
much
that's when
time
he
with him.
and he would have been able to call,
call
out to
out
her,
to her.
and it was,
It just stuttered a little bit, but say her name.
or he only stuttered when he saw her.
Oh.
No.
It was
I don't know.
broken.
That's the whole idea of being fixed. That's all it would be, that someone needs to be fixed. That
Yeah,
when you
because
said that
only
bugs
a
me.
guy can be complete when he finds a woman
Well,
that
all men need to be
completes
fixed
him.
by women.
Yeah. So it's the man's side of the story now. Now women aren't the only ones that need to be complete by children. You know?
Women fall in love with who a man is until they realize how they have to fix them.
Or realize that they can't.
No, they never
no, they
realize
never
that.
realize.
They never realize that.
In conclusion, this does live up. So that wraps up Forest of the Dead. Thanks for listening. Join us next time when the future becomes the present.
You've just listened to an episode of Who Knew?
Our wonderful theme music is by Michael Grady.
Find him on Facebook at The Universe Explodes.
All our episodes are engineered by Alburn.
Find him at auburnbinkley.com.
You can find this show in several places.
Follow us on Twitter at Who Knew Podcast.
Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher.
or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/whoknewpodcast.
Visit our Facebook page.
Please leave comments, reviews, and click like to help support the Who Knew podcast.
Also listen to us on your Amazon Echo by enabling a podcast skill.
All of our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com.
This podcast is inspired by Doctor Who.
The longest running sci-fi show in history.
And especially the revival spearheaded by Russell T. Davis.
Thanks to Russell.
Sydney Newman.
Very Lambert.
Ron Grainer.
And all those involved in the adventures of our favorite Time Lord.
Your work continues to inspire and entertain.
We had that argument before. You upload to the hard drive and download from the hard drive.
Yes, it was made
Gotcha,
very
gotcha,
clear to me
gotcha,
that I
gotcha.
needed to get it right.
You guys are lucky as hell.
I think so.
Oh, you're gonna make Frank stutter. Okay, so I'll say that.
Wait
so
for
cut
it.
that out. Cut that out.
Will this help?
No. It helps Arlene.
There's more pause.
Cute. Look at your belly. This is the other one. This is Tony. Tony's famous. He has almost 19,000 followers on Instagram.
Really? Well, maybe I'll have 19,001 in just a second.
Wow, I feel inadequate.
Tony_baloney_cat.
Oh, that's awesome. And not just me.
Tony with a Y.
Josh has cats.
But I know you like to rank episodes based on the cat involvement.
Yes, it does.
Oh, I'm already a follower.
Podcast gold.